Welcome to Small Biz Life, episode 50, YouTube Basics.
Does this sound familiar?
Oh my God, I have so much to do today.
Don't forget to breathe.
But I have almost 400 emails in my inbox and 30 phone calls to make.
Have you looked into getting a virtual assistant yet?
Oh, and I need to schedule all my social media posts.
Did you drink anything today?
I had coffee.
Did you eat today?
Did I mention coffee's a bean?
This is Small Biz Life.
Hello and welcome to another episode 50.
Woohoo, the action-packed episode.
Of Small Biz Life. I don't know how action-packed this is going to be. But we're talking about a topic that we're both really interested in and something that we have some experience with.
Yep.
So I'm excited that we're going to talk about YouTube this week. My name is Kristen Ingram.
And I'm Jeffrey W. Ingram.
And we're a husband and wife team. I'm a CPA.
And I'm an IT professional.
Oh, and you work mostly on the software side of things. Mm-hmm. So I think it's tough because IT professional, people think that that's like, you can do everything.
Yes. And even when you say you're a software person, they think you can do everything.
Right. So you work mostly on the like web app side of things.
Yeah. Right now I do a lot of project management and physical architecture for web applications.
That seems like an oxymoron when you're talking about physical
virtual architecture.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like playing Lego in a video game.
Well, there's both physical and virtual components to a web app.
Okay. That's interesting. And we are small business owners that are walking this journey with you through what we call the small biz life, because we know that this is a 24/7 operation. You know, you don't get to close the doors at 5:00 on Friday and say, all right, have a good weekend.
Good night.
You know, because that's not how it works. 'Cause even for us, you know, we record the show usually on Sunday mornings. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we understand what it's like to go through that journey.
Oh, yeah. And you fit stuff in where you can possibly do it.
Exactly. So, you know, we decided to talk about YouTube today because I've actually had a couple people reach out to me because they're dipping their feet into YouTube mm-hmm. and they're not getting the traction that they want from it. And I think a lot of people get scared by video.
Yes.
So whether, you know, you're talking about doing like Periscope or Facebook Live or YouTube, you know, people kind of shy off of mm-hmm. video. But I think YouTube is such a powerful platform that I think a lot of small businesses are really missing out.
Well, from our research, a lot of small businesses are missing out.
Yeah, so we found that only 9% of small businesses are actually utilizing YouTube, mm-hmm. which just like blows my mind.
Yes.
Because it is such a powerful platform and we see people spending so much time on blogging and Facebook and Twitter, and they're completely ignoring YouTube.
Yes. And even for the people in podcasting, a lot of times it's like they're afraid to put their podcast up on YouTube. I could see a little bit from the aspect that it's only audio, but with the image and a good disclaimer, letting people know that this is an audio podcast recording, that should help alleviate some of those issues.
Well, and I think one of the things that some of the mobile carriers are starting to do, and you know, like T-Mobile's doing this, they'll allow services like YouTube mm-hmm. to not count against your data.
Which would be very helpful for me.
Yeah, that would be really helpful for you actually, because you are quite the YouTube consumer, I guess.
Consumer. I don't always watch the kind of videos I watch. Don't necessarily need to be watched, but I can go through quite a few.
So, you know, I think that that's an interesting thing to think about is that there are people that will just put on YouTube and like listen to it throughout the day.
Yes.
Because either it's included in their data plan or it's something that they're familiar with. There are currently 1.3 billion YouTube users.
Mm-hmm.
There are 5 billion videos viewed every day.
And that's billion with a B?
With a B. And one thing that I thought was really interesting was that only 1 billion of those videos are viewed mobile.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is data plan driven. And I think even some people who now, like, who are on T-Mobile, who I believe everyone in T-Mobile, I believe, does not have to pay for YouTube, or it's not part of their data plan. I think the thing that they miss is that they can watch all they want, because earlier on, before it was, you could watch a video, and video is by far the biggest bandwidth thief there is.
Mm-hmm. So a couple other things kind of to compare, to give you some scope on YouTube. So we said that YouTube has 1.3 billion users. Facebook has 1.44 billion. Yeah. So Facebook is slightly bigger in total users. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of people don't realize that YouTube is really a social media network.
Yes. And in a way, I like it better than Facebook, because Facebook only wants people to go to Facebook, find stuff on Facebook, and consume stuff in Facebook. They let you share out articles, but actually not really. You share them to Facebook, not from Facebook. YouTube is, you can share away from YouTube, and YouTube uses it to bring people into their system. And so when you get a share there, it could be to Facebook, it could be to Twitter, it could be to pretty much anywhere on the internet, because even if you can't put up the actual, like if you can't just click on a link to a social media, you can embed videos on websites, all kinds of ways that you can interact with YouTube.
Well, and that's one thing I think that even Periscope is doing really well is, when I was in Periscope the other day watching a video, and I noticed that you can now share Periscope videos in any social media platform.
So they're taking the YouTube approach.
Right. Yeah. Where Facebook Live, you can't share it to Twitter easily. You can't share it even to people like outside your page. Like, it's really hard to grow your reach.
I mean, it goes back to my feeling that Facebook wants to control people's interaction, almost driving us backwards to the days of AOL, which is one of the reasons I do not like Facebook. But it's hard to ignore 1.44 billion people.
Right. But, I think we have a really good opportunity with YouTube to expand our reach beyond, people on Facebook or people on Twitter. Because one of the great things about YouTube is that it has Google behind it. And so your videos can show up in Google searches. Yeah. Where that's really not likely to happen, for your Facebook page or a Facebook Live video. No. So I think that it's a really great way that you can build your business, build your brand online outside of what we normally think of, trying to push out through Facebook and trying to push out through Twitter. Yeah. So, and, it's the easiest way online to monetize.
Without a doubt. I mean, there are a few simple rules you need to obey. You cannot break intellectual property rules and get caught. But basically, outside of that, depending on where you're at in the world, it's literally you sign up for an account, you connect your account, and you say you want videos or ads on videos. And I believe you can even state where. Yeah.
So YouTube's advertising is based off of AdSense, which is Google's advertising platform. And really, you just link your AdSense account and say, I want to put videos or I want to put ads on my videos. And that's it.
Yep.
So we actually have like one whole brand that right now is just completely monetized off of YouTube ads and AdSense ads. So in 2015, the highest paid YouTuber made $12 million.
And the thing to keep in mind there is that's not necessarily their total revenue. That is the total revenue shared with them from YouTube.
Yeah.
And granted, there's probably less than 1% of YouTubers who make real money at YouTube. Unless you probably have, I would imagine, at least 1 million subscribers, you're probably not in that game.
Yeah, you're not making a huge amount of money.
But you can offset a lot of your online cost through YouTube if you do it correctly.
Yeah, and I mean, we've said in here before that through that one site, that's paying for all of the expenses for the rest of our businesses.
Yeah.
So that means that any revenue we make off of any other segment of the business is all profit.
Yeah.
Because YouTube is paying, basically all of our other expenses. Mm-hmm. So I think that's pretty cool.
And the good thing is, once you have a video that goes live, it can be productive and making money for you passively for the rest of time.
Right. That's kind of one thing that you need to think about is, do you want to put ads on your videos or not? And it really depends on what the purpose of the videos would be. If it's selling another product, then I think that putting ads on the videos is kind of
selling your product.
Right. So, I think that is a little much. But if you're doing a lot of like educational videos to build brand awareness,
or if you have a vlog component, a video blog essentially,
or if you're just trying to like entertain people, or you're doing product reviews, I think that putting ads on them is fine. So you just got to kind of decide, like, do you want to do that or not?
Yeah.
Okay. I think one of the most interesting stats that we found was that YouTube has more viewers in the 18 to 34 and 18 to 49 categories than any cable network.
So this tells me that be very cautious before you outlay cash to advertise a local small business via anything except YouTube. Create YouTube videos, then create AdSense ads so that they show up on people's feeds. Try and draw them in through. It'll be a lot less expensive than cable. Now, I'm not saying there's no situation where cable will pay off for even a local small business, but with the cost differential, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it would be really hard because, you figure with YouTube, you make your videos, you upload them, and it costs you nothing. If you want to put out some AdSense ads, you could do that, or some Facebook ads. But cable is thousands of dollars to put something up on cable.
And if you get a good setup, think of it like if you're a restaurant owner, make one video a day of prepping a dish for your restaurant and putting that online. People love watching food being made. I do. Even if I don't like the food, I enjoy watching it being made. So, you can make engaging videos in creative ways and use those to drive business to your business.
Yeah. And I think, a lot of times, I think people are worried that if they create YouTube videos, like how to make a particular dish in their restaurant or how to fix something basic in your house, they get worried that, well, if people can just YouTube everything, then they won't, they're not going to come to my restaurant because I just told them how to make this.
Yes. Except you have to remember it's already been made. You can learn how to fix basically anything. You can learn how to probably cook anything by watching videos online. So the thing to keep in mind is create brand awareness, because people don't always want to do that. And they'll see that, geez, I could do that, but I don't know, or it's still a little frightening to me, but this person has some authority. Let me contact them.
Well, and I think there have been times where we've like watched a video on how to do something and gone, no. And we just called somebody, to have them do it for us. Like I've watched tons of episodes on Food Network and gone, oh yeah, I could probably make that. And then gone to a restaurant and eaten that dish because I saw it prepared.
Yeah.
But I hadn't necessarily ever made it. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the types of videos that you can do, because I think a lot of people just think of like traditional video where you're in front of a camera and you're recording. And that is one type of YouTube video, but that is not the only type of YouTube video.
And depending on what you're presenting to the audience, you're going to make different choices here based on that.
Right. So for Accounting in Focus, all of my videos are screen capture videos, which means that I've got something up on my computer screen that I am recording off the computer screen. So I'm showing how to do problems, using kind of whiteboard software to write things out, or I'm using PowerPoint slides. I'm not in any of my Accounting in Focus videos.
No.
I am in some of my Payment Free Life videos. Some of those are screen capture and some of those are traditional video. But you have options, so if you're afraid to be on camera, maybe you do a little bit on camera as an intro and then go to screen capture and then maybe wrap up live, or maybe you do all screen capture.
Or sometimes what you'll see too is a screen capture with a sort of a boxed live action of a person at the computer reacting as they're doing the thing that's happening on the screen as well too. I've seen some like that too. So a lot of these do kind of merge at times. So.
Yep. So those are two options. Another option is to do animation.
And unless you're an animator, could be expensive.
Well, there are actually programs out there that'll do kind of basic cartoons for you. Usually they have really cheesy voices. But that's an option. And I think as software evolves, I think it's going to be easier. And then one thing that we do, like for the podcast, is you can do audio with a still graphic.
Yeah.
Or you can do a couple different graphics if you want, but there's no moving part to it.
Nope.
Right? It's kind of like a slideshow.
Yep.
So those are kind of the four types of videos. When we do screen capture, we use a piece of software called Camtasia, which is great for PCs if you're a PC user. There's also, you can use the Adobe Suite. It gets a little bit pricey, I think, for the Adobe Suite.
Yeah.
There's also another piece of software from TechSmith that makes Camtasia. They also make something called Snagit. The difference between Snagit and Camtasia is really the editing capability.
Yeah.
So Snagit will allow you to record. Camtasia will allow you to record and edit and piece different bits together.
And the thing to keep in mind is if you're doing really short videos and you have a smaller budget, Snagit is a great option. You might have to re-record it a couple times, but it is exceptionally cheaper.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper. I think Camtasia...
It's about a sixth of the cost, maybe even more.
Yeah. And you can look too. I mean, every once in a while there are deals on Camtasia. Yeah. I know AppSumo has them every once in a while.
AppSumo just had their final Camtasia.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I've seen that before, though.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Well, I know Camtasia is actually about to release an update, like a major revision in the software. So I think that for that version, I think that might have been the last one.
Okay. I didn't read through enough of it because we have Camtasia.
Right. So, what you're looking for when you're doing YouTube is you're looking for an aspect ratio of 16:9. So that's like landscape, right? That's not portrait, that's landscape. So you want to hold your phone sideways if you're going to use your phone. And you can record off your phone.
Remember, especially if you have a higher end phone, and even most of the medium end phones at this point have exceptionally good cameras and mics. So if you're doing a close-up face capture for a vlog, or you can even use the cameras across the room. You want to mount them on something, and they're a little bit more limited on time because of the size of the storage, but they're very apt at being able to be used.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of the commercials that are being run by Apple right now that they're actually like showing movies that have been recorded on iPhones. So even, if you've got a tablet, usually tablets have really good cameras, your phone. A lot of times when I do like traditional video, I'll just record off my laptop.
Yep.
And you can use Camtasia or Snagit to capture that as well.
Yep.
So you don't need like a huge tech budget. You don't need fancy cameras. You don't need a GoPro.
And for a couple $100, if you wanted a video camera, you could probably get a solid one that will get the job done.
Yeah. I find like for me, I just think that
it takes a lot more time to set up.
Yeah, I think the setup kind of drives me nuts. So that's why I'm like, I'm just going to grab my phone, or I'm going to just hit record on my laptop and go.
Now, one sort of nerd throw in here, consider the lighting where you're at when you record. Don't ignore lighting, because if you're hard to see, it won't be useful. We went to Home Depot or Lowe's, one of the two. We bought a heat lamp, which are those big metal shades, and got a natural light bulb to put in there, a little wax paper over top of it, and you can clip it basically anywhere and flood the light at you. And you want to keep it a bit of a distance from you, but if you do that, it'll help soften the light around you and make sure that you show up well on the camera.
Yeah, and in the show notes, I'll actually put links to like the stuff that we bought, because I think it cost us like less than $50 to build 2 lights.
Yeah.
So it's really not super expensive. So yeah, I will I'll put in the show notes, I'll kind of put our setup.
Yeah.
Okay. So I kind of want to talk about some of the popular formats for both like making money on YouTube, and then what are some of the most popular like areas on YouTube. So,
and these won't necessarily be all of the areas, but the areas that we think are more relevant to you, our listener.
Right. So when you're thinking about making videos for YouTube, you've got to be thinking about the value that you're adding to somebody's life. So if you're doing like strictly sales videos all the time, come buy this thing, come buy that thing, that's not going to get you traction on YouTube.
No.
People are looking for either education or entertainment. Okay. So, and if, as we go through these categories, I think that's like the reoccurring theme that you're going to see.
Yeah.
So for making money on YouTube, and this is just, if you're strictly going to try to monetize YouTube, the top 5 categories are celebrity gossip.
Never watched one.
Yeah, no, me either. Educational shorts.
Watch lots of those.
Right. So those are really short videos that teach people something, right? So they're teaching people, think of this more as like accounting lessons, history lessons, things like that. Okay. Number 3 are product reviews.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something as small businesses that we kind of forget about, because a lot of us, whether, you're a blogger or you're a writer, we talk about a lot of different products that we use. Why not do reviews for them?
If you own a store or where you sell products from, create a channel where you talk about, especially the products that you love in your store, the ones that you hope will attract people in if they know that you have them in stock. But talk about why you like this product versus other products. Talk about your products. Do product reviews if you're a store owner, please.
Yeah, I think that's great. And then the 4th one are how-to videos.
Yeah.
How many times have you ever gone to YouTube to learn how to fix something, how to do something, how to make something? These are all over YouTube. And this is, I think, the reason I go to YouTube the most.
It's close with me between that and educational, but a lot of times, even in areas like, I work on software websites, but, what I use at work and what I use at home is different. So when I'm learning a new plugin or something about WordPress, I go to YouTube a lot to try and figure out, how do I properly configure this to get the best benefit from it?
Right. And I think a lot of people in your 18 to 49 demographic, they do that.
Yeah.
So like if I'm knitting a pattern for the first time and there's a stitch that I'm not comfortable with, the first thing I do is go to YouTube and see if there's a video on it.
Yeah.
So I think that we have a great opportunity in creating how-to videos and educational videos. And then the last one is actually video game walkthroughs, which again, if you think about it, right, it's educational.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble with a portion of this game. Show me how to walk through it.
Yeah. Or I've even seen ones where it's like, this is how I exploited this game to get to the spot of the game you're not supposed to because I wanted to.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So that's from like the making money standpoint, right? So if that's your only goal. Now let's look at most popular. So the number one most popular type of video are product reviews. Because people want to see, like, how does something work? How does it look? So again, I think, what Jeff said about going through and reviewing products that you sell is brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, and you can even bundle stuff, like, depending on the product. Like, I think of yarn because of my wife and a lot of our friends, really. And just go through your yarn bin, like if you're like a store that has yarn or fabric, and talk about the texture, how it feels. Because the people I know who use fabric and yarn, that's what they do when they go there. They like to feel up the yarn. So if you pre-feel it for them and it gets them in the mood, like, oh, that would make a best sweater. Maybe they're down there. Who knows? I'm telling you girls feel up the yarn.
I know we do. I know. Number 2 are how-to videos, right? So that's right in the small business wheelhouse.
Yep.
Number 3 are actually vlogs. And I think, there are a lot of bloggers out there who may be seeing that their traffic is going down a little bit, because I think people's attention span to sit and read has gotten much shorter.
And the availability of video on the phones.
Right, exactly. So, that's why I really encourage people to look into podcasting, to look into things like YouTube and Periscope, because I think that they're great opportunities to catch people.
Yeah. It's the outreach place for me. I think the smartest outreach place in the internet is YouTube.
Right. And I think, if you go back to that statistic that only 9% of small businesses are using YouTube, this and podcasting are 2 places where people are not, like, the businesses have not latched onto it as quickly as the users have.
Yeah. Some of the bigger businesses are starting to find podcasting and video creation, but not many small businesses.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. It's like Hillary Clinton has a podcast.
Yeah.
And, I think part of that is because, and I see this with you guys that listen to our show, we can develop a really intimate relationship with you very quickly because you listen to us every week. And so, think about like those podcasts, or maybe you have like some YouTube channels that you watch, pretty religiously. Think about if you could develop that kind of relationship with your customers that you feel you have with that person.
Yep. And if you're in a content delivery space, YouTube is a great area to build that relationship. I know a lot of people who are smaller in the terms of YouTube channels, like probably 500,000 and down to probably, 10 or 20,000 viewers, who utilize Patreon and other ways to monetize, but YouTube is just the way they deliver content.
Right. Exactly. So number 4 would be video game walkthroughs, right? So there's a lot of educational, themes in here.
Yeah.
Right. So how-to videos, vlogs, product reviews, video game walkthroughs. Number 5 is actually comedy. Educational shorts comes in at number 9 on that list. And then Q&A is number 11.
Yeah.
So, if you think about, like, people are using YouTube as an educational resource to learn more information, to learn how to do things. You need to be in this space.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's critically important. So I kind of want to talk about, since this is like a 101, right?
Yeah.
This is an intro basics to YouTube. I want to talk about some of the things that you should be doing if you're doing YouTube videos. Okay. So these are like our top 7 tips.
Yeah. Even though 2 of them in my mind are tied for number 1.
Okay. So these are in no particular order.
Yeah.
Okay. Although
in your mind.
In my mind, although I do think that this is the most important, because when I see when I see small businesses struggle with YouTube, it's because they're making this mistake. People think that because it's a video format, words don't matter. Words matter.
Yes. And written words.
Right. So your title your description and your tags are critical to people being able to find your videos. Because remember that when they're searching YouTube, they're searching based off of text, even though it's video. So your title should be something that people might search for in order to find your video.
Yep. So
like, on Accounting in Focus, I have video titles that are how to do a cash flow statement.
Yeah.
How to calculate predetermined overhead rate. There are things that, when I went through and I asked my students, what do you look for? This is what they came back. And most people search in questions.
Yeah.
So if you can answer that question, right, with the title of your video, huge.
Yeah.
It will help you tremendously. Okay. Make sure that your description, it's almost like writing for SEO, right? What are you talking about in the video? If you're demonstrating something, put the name of the product, put the model number if you can. If it's a certain, like edition, like if this is like the 2015 model, put that in there.
If you have sources, cite them.
Right, exactly.
And trust me, serious YouTubers will call people out for not doing that. So really put links in, and they're going to look ugly, but that's YouTube, and people who use YouTube are used to it.
Right. And that's one of the nice things with YouTube is that you can put links in the description. They're not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
You can use like something like Bitly, right? To do shorter links if you want.
I would not do that.
Really?
And the reason is it points out exactly what they are. Like if there's an affiliate number attached to them, I do not use Bitly. I don't think it would hurt you YouTube wise, but some of the users I think would be put off by not being able to see the domain they're clicking through.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you have a 5,000 word limit in the description,
which is a lot. And what some people do, and this is the part of the Brendan Burchard method, which is he'll create a video, he'll output the audio for podcasting, he'll write up an article talking about what's in the video, and he'll reformat that article and use that same thing in multiple areas. Because certain things you want closer to the top in YouTube that you might not want closer to the top if you have it on Huffington Post or on your website. So you have your full description there. And some people get greedy here because you want them to go to your website. But what if I told you that this person might want to follow you, but might not want to go to your website, and they will only consistently follow you on YouTube? Give them your content here. Same thing with Facebook. Same thing with your social media when possible. Not all social media it doesn't work for, but when it works, give them all of your best content, because maybe they only follow you there, but if that's all they want to follow you with, they're still following you, and it gives you a chance later on to convert them to sales for your business. Right. So, one of the things that I do with Accounting in Focus, which has seemed to work pretty well on YouTube, is I will usually do maybe like a 5 or 6 sentence description of the video. So, I always start with, in this video, we will discuss major, most important keyword.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'll say, we will also discuss this and this and this. We go through examples or, like, especially with accounting, it's really important that we go through calculations. So I always make sure the word calculation is in there, just so that, I'm thinking in terms of the keywords that people are going to use when they're searching for help.
Yep.
And if you kind of put yourself in that mind frame, that really helps. Make sure that you tag your video just like you would tag a blog post.
And tag it up, but make sure it's relevant.
Right. So, and one thing that I typically do with Accounting in Focus is I put in at least 5 tags. A lot of times my videos for Accounting in Focus have about 10 tags, because I put in, the course that they're probably going to be taking. Because a lot of, I found like a lot of college students, they'll actually put in financial accounting or intermediate accounting, in their search when they're looking. So I always put in the course that this could be in. I put in the relevant, keywords. And usually for accounting, there's a lot. And then what I'll do is I'll actually go back like 48 hours later, because YouTube will actually suggest keywords. And some of them, they're their official keywords.
Yeah.
And so if those make sense to add them to your video, do it. If they don't, then don't add them.
Because the problem is if they're not relevant and someone happens to get it because of an irrelevant tag and it's maybe kind of close, maybe they watch it for 10, 20 seconds and then they click out of it, and that hurts you.
Right. So, really what you're looking for is you're looking to accurately describe the video so that people stay with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So words are really important. Number 2, you want to have a call to action.
Yes.
And this is inside the video.
Yeah.
Okay. So, some sample calls to action are, go to our website and give the URL. Like us on Facebook, and you can put a link to your Facebook page in the description. Subscribe to our channel, like the video, share the video. It's part of YouTube's algorithm is based off of how many people have liked your video, watched your video, shared your video, subscribed to your channel.
Yes.
And so there's nothing wrong with asking people, hey guys, look, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, share it with your friends. People will do that if you ask them to. And I found with my videos for Accounting in Focus, those where I ask people to do that perform better than those where I don't ask people. So, there's nothing wrong with doing that. You can ask people to sign up for your newsletter. You can, if you're doing product reviews, you can put your affiliate link and say, if you want to buy this product, and you like this video, please use my affiliate link below. I would make sure you tell people it's an affiliate link. Yes. I think that's important. You can ask people to go buy it from your website. So you always want to have a call to action though. So if people have made it to the end of your video, that means that they probably trust you.
Yeah.
And so ask them to help you.
And give only one call to action. The only exception to that would be like, subscribe, and share our videos, because they're right next to each other, right below the video on YouTube.
Right. So that's the only one where I would pick all 3.
Yeah.
And I think if you're trying to build up your channel, I think that's the one you use.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you can even, like, if you're doing a product review, you can say in the middle of the video, oh, my product, my affiliate link is below.
Yeah.
So you can kind of do that in the middle of the video. This is your call to action at the end. Okay. You want to make sure that you know your audience. Okay. So knowing your audience is really important because it will tell you a lot about what you can and cannot do in your videos.
Yeah.
So it'll tell you a lot about how long your videos should be. For Accounting in Focus, I'm working with, the 18 to 24 demographic primarily. And they don't want to watch videos that are longer than 10 minutes.
No.
They're more likely to kind of go through, they'll say, okay, I get this part. They'll kind of fast forward through bits. So if your videos are really long, they're not going to watch them.
Nope.
Now, if it's an educational video on like the history of the Mesopotamians, that you probably have more time.
Actually, a lot of times those are broken up into multiple parts.
Okay. So you can even take a longer educational piece and break it up into small bits.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a good idea. It will tell you what format to use. So should you do animation? Should you do, I think anytime you're teaching something that's difficult, or you're teaching something like a piece of software or something that has a lot of numbers to it, screen capture is great for that.
Yep.
Because you can show it on the screen. People can follow along with you. If you're teaching something like diagramming sentences, screen capture is really good for that. Knowing what type of learning your audience is looking for, are they visual learners? Is just hearing it enough, will kind of dictate what you should do with your, with the type of videos. And then even things like, are you going to swear in your videos? Are you not going to swear? Do you have to put on makeup? What type of background should you have? If it's something that's like more professional, you see people behind, like with the bookshelves behind them all the time.
Yes.
It's knowing who your audience is.
That's why I always do mine in a smoking jacket, and I have a bubble pop pipe. So I look very sophisticated.
A bubble pipe?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. I have no words.
Just to make this clear, a lot of you are like, how big of a difference, if you're targeting business owners, could it be? But, for an example, right? Here's some homework for you. Go watch a Michael Hyatt video talking about something, then go watch a Gary Vaynerchuk video about something. Both targeting business people, and you know what? Videos are radically different. They're both successful, and I won't say which one's better or worse. It's irrelevant, but they're targeting different people within that segment, and you can tell by watching their videos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You might want to watch Gary's video with your headphones on, especially if you have small children.
If you have small children, yes, do not use your speakers with Gary Vaynerchuk.
But I mean, that's the thing is that, you got to figure out like who your ideal customer is. And we went, I think that was like episode 3.
Yeah.
It's really important to know who that person is, how they're going to, how they're going to consume your information, what their tolerances are, both time-wise, language, whether or not they want to see you on video or whether they want to see screen capture so they can get information on the screen. Mm-hmm. It's so important to understand who that person is.
And the interesting thing, the more you get into Avatar, the more I think about when I watch other people's videos or read their content. And it reinforced the idea to me. Most of the successful people I know obviously have a very targeted avatar. That's not to say they don't try to sell to more people than that. That's not true. But they have a consistent style because they're talking to the same person all the time.
Right. And so it's just so important. And if you haven't listened to episode 3, go listen to episode 3. I'll link it in the show notes. Okay, so let's do 4 and 5 together. So, Jeff said as we were going through brainstorming this, that good audio and video quality are important.
These are tied for number 1.
For you.
Here's why. If the audio is so bad or the video is so bad, I will not listen to enough of it or watch enough of it to know if the writing's good.
And the thing is, it doesn't take a lot to have good audio.
No.
So I know when I do my screen capture videos, I have like a $20 Logitech USB headset that I wear.
I mean, think about the Periscope ones. Most of the problems people have with Periscope is network breaking down, but the audio, when it comes through clear, it's good because most phones have good mics. You probably have a good mic already.
Right. So, your mobile phone probably has a really good mic. Your tablet probably has a really good mic.
If you do a video from a distance, you have to keep in mind, though, you can't use the microphone that comes with the camera because it's going to sound hollow and distant because you're far from the microphone. So you have to come up with a different solution if you're going to have a camera from a distance.
Right. And that's as simple as getting like a $10 lavalier mic with like a 50-foot cord.
Yep. Or if you use your phone, some people use wireless Bluetooth mics and they just hook them to their shirt like it's a lavalier mic and they just use their phone from a distance. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah. It doesn't have to cost a lot to do this. It really doesn't. You can even, I know some people that they'll do the video from across the room with a camera, but they'll just have like an earbud in with the mic that goes with the earbud, and that works fine. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, look at some YouTube videos and you'll see like a lot of people aren't mic'd up.
Yeah, a lot of people actually just use the camera that comes straight with their laptops.
Right. So, and usually when I use my laptop, I do mic up because I find that the mic with the laptop isn't as good. It creates some echo.
Yeah. And you could either do it like, in a setup studio or once again, just, headset, even though if you're doing a traditional video, it might look goofy. It would depend on your avatar.
Yeah.
Trust
Again,
me. Like if it's gamers and you're making game how-to videos, you could probably have headphones on and people wouldn't mind.
yeah, you would have a headset, and I think that'd be okay. Okay, so I want to balance that with the next one, because I do think that audio quality is important.
Yes.
And, that's why we have the setup for the podcast, that we have. But perfection is not required.
No. It's actually the enemy of doing anything. And notice I said good audio quality, good video quality. It might not be professional quality, but if you're starting off and if you don't have a big budget, you're not going to have professional quality. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you sound good and your video isn't choppy and distorted.
Well, I think it's funny because when Rachel Cruz, Dave Ramsey's daughter, started her vlog,
She got eaten up.
right? There was a lot of controversy because she had video that you could see like where the cuts were. Like it was very clear where the video cuts were.
And there were way too many.
And there were a lot of them. And, for some people, it did not bother them because the audio quality was good and the video quality was good. And they kind of understood that like, hey, this is a busy person. She can't like re-record the entire video.
Mm-hmm.
So they were okay with that. And it was funny because I remember like there was a phone call between the two of them on Dave's show where he was like, God, that just drives me crazy.
But you know what? You're going to get called out on YouTube if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I do see people with jump cuts. If you have a couple of jump cuts, it's not too bad. There's also this technique called B footage. And so essentially maybe you have footage of yourself working at the computer, going back to knitting because I've seen obsessed with it today. You could be knitting an Afghan and just videotape yourself doing it with no audio. And then if you have to do a cut, you transition to a shot of you knitting the thing that you're working on, and then it cuts back to you talking to the camera. It'll transition through that cut, which you can do very quickly in Camtasia, but it looks much better. And a novice like myself can do that.
Well, and that's also like where you could kind of take like an image or a meme or like a PowerPoint slide.
Yeah.
If there's something relevant that you could put in that space.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be other live footage.
Right. Then you could just do that and avoid the video cut. But it doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
I mean, like our podcast is
Far from perfect.
far from perfect. There's coughing breaks, there's laughing breaks, there's, parts where we can't get words out. That's why editing is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And we don't edit out everything anymore. We used to. Back in the day, I used to try to edit out everything and make it perfect. And it took me forever. And I was like, you know what? I'm not perfect. My listeners aren't perfect. So let's be real.
Yep. Yeah. And that's what it comes down to, is the reason they interact with you is for the quality content. All you need in the delivery mechanism when it comes to audio and video is good. And there is some really bad podcast audio out there, and I don't listen to those shows. And some of them have great content. And I go back a couple times and I try like later episodes, and I can't get past the audio because it's really scratchy. It's you just can't make people out. And when that happens, I'm sorry, I'm not going to consume it. But if those two things are in place, writing then becomes the most important because whether it's the words you're speaking or putting in to help people find it. So in a way that is the most important, but you have to get past that initial hurdle of good, not perfect, but good audio and video quality.
Yeah. So I just think it's important that we don't let perfection stop us.
No.
Because otherwise we wouldn't have a podcast. We wouldn't even be at episode 50. We would have never started.
We would be re-recording episode 1 and yelling at each other a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, episode 0.
Yes, that's true. So, just go out there and do it. And don't worry about perfection. Okay. Number 6. Always put your website URL in the description of your videos.
Remember earlier where Chris said this is a Google property? Yes. Any Google property that you could put your link onto is a good thing. And if you have good SEO on your site, you can really grow your website traffic. Counting and Focus is a great example. Before we started doing it, she was averaging about 2,000 website unique visitors a month. She's now at over 60,000 in
a year.
In a year. And she had great SEO with her site, but when she got good link backs to back that up, so every video she made linked back to her site. They went out onto Google Plus. Good page ranked sites linking back to your site. And these are easy ones to get stuff up onto, people.
Right. Well, and the thing, what really helped Accounting in Focus was in the back end of YouTube, you can see like who's linking your videos. And I have a number of universities that have linked my video. And so remember we talked about when we did the SEO, how important EDUs are. Well, so I have EDUs that are using my videos.
Yes.
And so YouTube says, okay, wow, this is a really good video. There are universities that are using it. And then Google says, okay, well, wait, these YouTube videos are really good. And they give a link back to this website. And so now my website outperforms my YouTube channel, where for a long time it didn't. And I think it just, it shows good content, right, that people want to use can help you grow your website and your business. Okay. But remember, it has to be good content. People have to be able to find it. So you need, that's why words are important.
Preach it, baby.
And then have really good content on your website, so that when people get there, they're like, oh, okay, this is good. And they don't bounce back. Right. So, but always have that URL because that's really, we were seeing our traffic double, almost every month once we put the URL into the description of every single YouTube video.
And my suggestion is when you have important links like to your website, make sure to point it out, put it towards the top of your video, because even if your call to action isn't to go to your website, maybe they want to read it in a more pleasant way. Put the link up there near the top so they can get to the website if they choose to do that, or they can continue reading whichever they prefer.
Right. So it's kind of like, the new strategy that we have on Small Biz Life, where in the earlier episodes, I just put the link to get to the show, whether you wanted to listen to it on iTunes or Stitcher or Google Plus, or that was at the bottom of the post. And somebody was like, you should put that at the top too. And I was like, oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Right? Duh. So, now you see that at the top of the post and at the bottom of the post.
And usually what I've been doing now is at my other side I've been doing is I'll have a paragraph of text to see if this is what they're looking for, then links, then the rest of the text. Okay,
cool. So always put your URL, very important. And I just, usually in my YouTube videos, I say, for more like for Accounting in Focus, for more help with accounting, check out accountinginfocus.com. Okay. So, and that kind of knows like, oh, that's what I'm going to, so I'm going to get more of her stuff if I go there. Okay. Well, I like this video. Maybe I can find the other help I need if I go there. So it's worked really well. And then the last one, always consider mobile. I think one of the mistakes that a lot of people make when they put videos up on YouTube, especially if they're doing screen capture, they make the text so small, or they're doing PowerPoint presentations with screen capture and they put so much on every single slide that it's not mobile friendly.
No.
And you can't read it. And I know that, based off of some of the stats we're looking at and based off my own experience, only about 20% is mobile right now. That's going to change.
Yep.
And that's going to grow. And if your videos are not mobile friendly, you're going to lose traffic.
Well, and remember too, 20% on YouTube in a day is 1 billion videos.
Right. And
so that's a big 20%.
Right. And if you want to be part of that 20%, you want to make sure that you do okay on mobile. right? So, and this is just, it's very important. Like even if you're doing live video, but you're putting like call outs in your videos, or, you're putting other text on the screen, you just want to make sure that people are going to be able to read it, even if they're viewing it on an iPhone.
And that's where that 16:9 aspect ratio is very important for video production. Is it might look kind of bad on a desktop, but you put it on mobile, if it's not that, when they look at it landscape, it looks horrific. So your video quality will go bad too. And think about it this way, the two major ones that we use 1280 by 720 resolution on our screens when we do screen capture. That will give you the last number, 720. That's the important number because that's the P. So like on a TV screen, it's 720, 1080p. So that's 16:9 ratio, and that's a pretty good quality. Now, if there's a lot of detail in what you're doing and you're going to want to show a lot of detail, or you want to have that better high definition quality, you will want to use 1920 by 1080. And that will give you your 1080p. So it'll look great on televisions. It'll look great on phones landscaped that have good screens. But for the most part, I think 720 is good for most educational videos. It'll save them a little bit of bandwidth so they can watch one more video maybe.
Right. So, I think that I know this episode went really long compared to some of our other ones, but I think that this gives you a good starting place for YouTube. If you have any questions about this, and listen, we're going to do a more advanced episode on YouTube in the future. So this is just kind of for those of you that aren't using YouTube or you don't really understand how it works, this episode was for you.
Yep.
Okay. If, I'd love to get some feedback from you guys on this type of episode, because we're looking to do an episode similar to this, like a Facebook ads basics, a Periscope basics, Facebook Live basics, just to kind of help you get your feet wet in some of these technologies and some of these options. So if you like this type of episode, feel free to comment on the show notes, comment on, any of the links you see for this episode on social media, post in our Facebook group. But we'd like to know, should we do more episodes like this in the future? Or, are you guys going, I already know all this stuff, and you probably aren't listening to this point because you've already shut us off.
Yeah. And if you have questions over specific kinds of equipment that are good, that are inexpensive or even expensive, if you have questions on cheap studio setups, anything around this, or really anything, we'll answer almost anything. Our Facebook group is the best way to get a hold of us for that.
Right. And that's facebook.com/groups/smallbizlife. So thank you so much for joining us this week, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
This was Small Biz Life.